Hello, everyone. Happy Tuesday to you all as we enter this final week of March. This is Allen Devlin with Atlanta News First. It is a pleasure to be speaking to you all today, this Tuesday evening. Only one thing I really want to talk to you guys about tonight, and that is the terrible tragedy that happened in Nashville yesterday, that I'm sure you all are very aware about. We've been communicating it to you for the last pretty much 48 hours at this point, chatting with you, talking to you, or at least 36 hours, I should say, chatting with you on air, online, VR streaming apps just like this one, wherever you're watching this. Thank you for joining us. We're going to break down some new details that we got today because this is one of those stories that's continuing to evolve. One thing that I can tell you that we do know, of course, as you may already well know, 6 victims all died at the hands of one gunman yesterday at the Covenant School there in Nashville. And right now, the shooter, the alleged shooter, I should say, is deceased as well. Police say they opened fire on them inside that school. They rushed into the school. New things that we got today is not only video of the shooter entering the school, but some hard to watch for many people body cam video of officers storming that school and looking for that shooter in the process, eventually stopping them. That is all, of course, according to the Nashville Police Department. This is a tough story. This is one of those things where nothing ever prepares you to hear about it. Nothing ever prepares you to report on it. But, here we are. I just got off a Zoom interview with someone here in Atlanta that knew one of those victims that died in that shooting. She was actually the headmaster of the school, Catherine Kuntz, and you may have seen her name, read her name online. She actually got her master's here in Atlanta at Georgia State University before she moved on and then, of course, became the headmaster in Nashville. So there is a close-to-home tie to this devastating, senseless tragedy. We'll get into that in a little bit. I want to walk you guys through some of the basics, and then we'll talk about some of the new details, and we've got a little bit of video to cover it all up. So as you know, this all happened yesterday at the school there in Nashville. This is video of the students at the Covenant School being escorted out of that school while or a little bit after the shooting happened, after police were able to neutralize that shooter. We now know, as I said, Ashley Hale is the alleged shooter in this situation, a 28-year-old former student, according to police. That's what police are saying right now. I do believe we have a video or at least a picture of her. I want to show you this. I'm going to warn you, it can be hard to watch for a lot of you. This is video of what police say is Ashley Hale walking through that school. She had just bursted through the front door with gunfire. This is a picture of Hale, who is the alleged shooter in this incident. She, of course, again, died at the hands of Nashville police as they entered that school. Police say she was opening fire on the students and the staff members. And we've got a long list here, unfortunately, of some of those victims, including Haley Scruggs, a 9-year-old, Evelyn DeCosse, a 9-year-old, William Kinney, another 9-year-old, and then 3 staff members, Cynthia Peak at 61, Mike Hall at 61, and Catherine Kuntz, as I just said. You're looking at this front door. That is how she was able to gain access to the front door. I want to show you this video. Viewer discretion is advised. It does depict gunfire in here. You will not see any direct violence to any of the victims or any of the other students, but this is released in order to allow us to continue to piece together what and how this happened. So this video here is showing the alleged shooter shooting through a side door there at the Covenant School. You can see those bullets come right through, and then she enters that school. This is her with the hat turned backwards, walking around inside that school with those rifles. Police say she had 3 guns on her, 2 assault-style rifles, and then a pistol as well. And she entered this classroom here, was in there for a little bit, then comes back out, or at least an office. It looks like the writing on the right side of that door there says an office. The alleged shooter, you can see her, gun up, enters another area of the school, walks through that door to the left, comes back out, and then walks through those double doors there on the far end and walks down a long hallway. Now, while this is happening, we've got fire alarms going off. Someone has triggered the fire alarm, signaled the lockdown. So most of these students, these classmates, these staffers are all locking down in their classrooms as this alleged shooter prays through the hallways here. She walks through this double door, and then we're going to have her on a wide angle walking through what looks like a main atrium. You can see children's ministry up there on the top right. Through that, what I believe is an auditorium there. We have not seen anybody because, again, this school is on lockdown. You can't hear it, but you can see those fire alarms, those sirens going off as this alleged shooter makes her way through the school. Now, we're still working on a motive at this time. Again, this shooter, alleged shooter, is a former student at the school, according to police, but it was a while ago. This is a elementary school. The alleged shooter is 28, so she was not a student there anytime recently. And so here we are with police trying to piece together exactly how this happened. Now, what I want to do is play from you a little bit of an interview from Nashville police they gave today as they continue to work through this one. So take a listen to what the police chief had to say regarding where they're at right now and a possible motive.
She was under care, doctor's care, for an emotional disorder. Law enforcement knew nothing about the treatment she was receiving, but her parents felt that she should not own weapons. They were under the impression that when she sold the one weapon that she did not own anymore.
And so we now know, I haven't said it yet, but she bought 7 guns, 7 separate guns in the days and weeks leading up to this planned attack, and carried 3 of them onto that campus at the Covenant School. And police say that she had a long list of description, and it was very planned out. They found it in her car at her home, a map of the school, exits and entry points. So this was not spur of the moment, and it wasn't impulsive. This was a planned, coordinated, violent attack that, again, resulted in the death of 3 of those students and 3 of those staff members. It's a small school. So as far as, the ability for her to plan a route through the school, unfortunately, the size of that school made it easier for her to cover more ground percentage-wise than if she was dealing with a larger school. And as a result, 3 students and 3 adults fell victim to her violent rampage. So we here at Atlanta News First, we carry ourselves to a very high standard every single day, day in and day out. And our general manager, Eric Schrader, put out a call to action earlier today in response to this school shooting. Any amount of death or violence on school property is too much, but we have seen it happen time and time again. And I want you to just listen to the words from our general manager, Eric Schrader. He spoke a little bit about what we at Atlanta News First believe needs to come next.
Now, from Atlanta News First, this is an editorial from Vice President and General Manager Eric Schrader.
All these years and we're still talking about it, still just talking about it. I'm Eric Schrader, the Vice President and General Manager at ANF and WPCH, and you don't see me do editorials very often. In fact, this is the first I've done since coming to Atlanta back in 2021. It's been almost 24 years since Columbine, when 13 victims died, almost 16 years since Virginia Tech, when 32 students and faculty members died, and it's been 10 years since Sandy Hook, when 26 victims, including 20 first graders, died. I really thought after that we'd come together as a country and take steps to stop this from repeatedly happening. But we didn't. Nothing significant changed. Nothing to prevent 17 people dying in Parkland, Florida 5 years ago, or 21 kids and teachers in Texas last year, and nothing to prevent what happened in Nashville days ago. Trying to decide how to stop it is polarizing. No one seems to agree, and too many people are digging in. We didn't get in this situation as a country, as an outlier across the world, for any one reason, and no one thing is going to help us stop the madness. But we need it to be a focus. Georgia's leaders, we need your help. Governor Kemp, we need your help. Sanders, Ossoff, and Warnock, we need your help. Our other federal and state leaders, we need your help too. We can all agree this needs to stop. No one wants this to keep happening. Almost no one, except the people that do these things. We have to stop them. All of us. We have to stop them.
Very strong words there from our general manager, vice president of news, again, Eric Schrader. And no matter where you stand on this, his words, nobody wants this to happen except the people who do it, who commit these violent acts. Absolute. Absolute. There is no argument with that component. One thing I want to see if I can do here before I let you guys go and we turn it over to Patrick Pete to tell you about the weather here in Atlanta is that body cam footage that we have from the Nashville Police Department that shows them entering that school that I talked about. It's new today. Them entering that school, following the sound of that gunfire as they're running guns up, trying to neutralize the target. And I want to see if that video will connect here in the next 10 to 20 seconds or so. If it does, I'll be happy to show you. If technology, fails us this time around, I'll throw things over to Patrick Pete. But in the meantime, I want you guys to continue. Any feedback, Facebook, YouTube, anything you have, feel free to fill us in, talk to us, give your opinions. I'll do my best to answer any questions or any comments you guys have. Good evening to everybody in the comments right now on Facebook, chatting, reaching out. Ashley, this is sad. It is a tragedy, and it's something that you can never really prepare yourself for. I will tell you, I'll leave you on this real quick. The woman I spoke to, her name is Dean Crow. She knew Catherine Kuntz, who was the headmaster of the Covenant School there in Nashville. Dean Crow lives here in Atlanta. They met in Atlanta. Their children kind of grew up together. That's how they met. She said that we continue to find more details on what happened to the principal, the headmaster at the Covenant School, Catherine Kuntz, one of those victims in the shooting. And as we learn that she very, very likely died in the act of trying to protect and save those students and staff on her campus, Dean Crow says there is no surprise that is how she would go, sacrificing her life and doing her best to protect her students and her staff, because that's just the kind of person she was. We're going to have much more of that interview coming up at 9, 10, and 11 here this evening on WANF with Rick Fobaum, Sean Gables at 9 and 11, Savannah Louie and I at 10. And Patrick, if you give me 2 more minutes here, that video just connected. I want to be able to walk them through this video really quickly. So, guys, I was about to sign off. The video I was hoping would come through has connected. So I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit very quickly, and then we will jump right over to weather. I promise you that. I'm going to put this video up. Again, this is graphic video. This is tough to watch. It's tough to listen to. If this is not something you want to see, I'm going to ask you to step away from the computer. Go ahead and end out the stream. If it's something you haven't seen before or would like to see again to depict these officers entering this school, you can watch it here with us. There is no violence. Anything that is, something you wouldn't want to see has been blurred out. We do not see any violence as far as gunfire striking anybody in this video, but it does have the sounds and the sights of police entering that school up front. I'm going to play it for you now. Again, warning, viewer discretion is advised. And you can see right here, officers enter that school very quickly and are being told where and how and why they are reacting and what they're looking for. They're following the sounds of gunfire right now, but they do not have a map of this school. They aren't sure what they're doing or where they're going. They just know they need to stop this threat. Right about here, they were about to go down that hallway, but then one of the officers says, "We believe the bullets are coming from upstairs." And again, they're just doing this entirely on the sounds. What they're hearing right now, they go upstairs. They rush up the stairwell right here, following the sounds of those bullets as the alleged shooter is firing them, still trying to figure out where it's happening. They get to the top of this hallway. They want to go left, but they realize those bullets are to the right. That is where they manage to confront that shooter and bring a stop to this. Now, we have the full video on our website right now, AtlantaNewsFirst.com, if you would like to watch it in its entirety, along with the sights and the sounds. Again, viewer discretion is advised. That is not something we are going to be showing on air tonight because of the scenes depicted in that video. But it is another tragedy, and we are once again in a situation as a country where we are mourning the loss, the death of young students who woke up that morning just wanting to go to school. We're going to continue to cover this one as it moves forward. New developments that we get, we will be sure to let you know. We're going to turn the tides here, talk about something a lot more cheerful, a lot more happy this Tuesday. And I'm going to leave it to Patrick Pete to handle that for us. Patrick's going to step in real quick as we leave you with a live look over Midtown Atlanta. It is beautiful out there. And I'll tell you what, Patrick, it might not even be April yet, but it sure feels like April and May weather from what we've been experiencing the last couple of days.
Yes, sir. It's been really nice out there, and beautiful evening across the region. We are actually a little bit unseasonably warm by a few degrees across the area, so definitely a nice evening to be out and about. And clouds are starting to break across the region, so that's good news as well. So let's go ahead and get you started with what we can expect in the forecast, and we will have that for you. There we go. Switching over. And what we are tracking is a dry forecast for the next couple of days. No rain potential. I know that's making a lot of you happy. It's been a bit of a stormy weekend. Rain storms across most of the state of Georgia, actually. Still ongoing in South Georgia at the moment. But we are tracking the potential for rain re-entering the forecast just in time to kick off the weekend. So we're first alerting your Saturday, but this is going to be really early Saturday morning through about noon. After that, looks like that timing is going to have this system sweeping on out. Of course, this is still 4 days away, so that timeline could shift a couple of hours either way, and that's one of the reasons why you should at least check in a couple times this week as we fine-tune the timing of the rain and the storms and the intensity of those storms as well as they make their approach to portions of North Georgia. But with dry conditions in store for us tomorrow, we will see mostly sunny skies dominate the forecast. I do think we'll see some high clouds in the morning, but those clouds will start to dissipate as we head into the afternoon, making way for completely sunny skies by the time you get off work. And clear conditions linger as we push into the overnight hours. As far as the temperatures are concerned, it is going to be noticeably cooler for your Wednesday. We're going to start off the morning in the low 40s at the airport, but I do think that lots of extreme North Georgia, I'm talking to people that are in Blairsville, in higher elevations, I think you're going to start off the morning actually in the upper 30s. So whether you're at 38 or 43 for the morning, I think the big takeaway here is that we're all going to need at least that light jacket as we're heading out to work and sending the kids to the bus stop. But definitely a day to layer up, because I do think as we head into the afternoon, the numbers do get a little bit more agreeable. We're not going to get into the 70s like we were today, but I do think that we'll climb into the mid to upper 60s for a few hours, and that's going to make it still kind of a win nonetheless. Warmer numbers are going to return as we head into your Thursday. We'll start off the morning once again chilly, so that trend of chilly mornings, milder afternoons are going to hold for the next couple of days, and they're both going to be dry, which is also nice. But those winds are going to shift as we head into the afternoon, and that's going to be enough to warm us into the mid-60s. And the more of a southerly component to the wind that we get through about 4 or 5 o'clock, that's going to send temperatures towards their daytime highs. We're talking about climbing into the low 70s Thursday afternoon. So I do think that if you were thinking about doing maybe a happy hour after work, it's going to be a fantastic evening to be out on the city, and we're going to stay dry. A couple of high clouds push in as we head through the overnight hours, but that southerly flow is going to continue through the overnight, and that's going to keep temperatures milder heading into Friday. Now, we're watching Friday. This is the severe weather outlook. This is day 4, so this is just kind of like giving us a general idea of where we do think that some of those thunderstorms are going to be stronger for this 24-hour period, but this extends from Friday at 8 a.m. to Saturday at 8 a.m., and you can see that polygon is to the north and west of Georgia. But because this is 4 days away, and because these systems, you know, we're forecasting a system that theoretically hasn't even made impact to the West Coast yet. So we have to watch the system, and as it propagates to the east, you know, that's how we fine tune exactly where we think that risk is. Right now, we're so close to it. We know that we're going to get some rumbles of thunder. We know we're going to get some rain as we head into the early morning hours on Saturday. But you'll want to once again check in with us within the next, I'd say 24 to 36 hours, because we're going to have a better idea of exactly how that system is going to behave as it moves through our region. And we'll have that, of course, hour by hour timeline. But here's the overarching view here. We're expecting the bulk of the day Friday to be dry. We do have about a 20% chance of an isolated shower, mainly in the evening hours. But the big theme here is that southerly flow is going to be a bit breezy out ahead of this front, and that's going to allow temperatures to warm into the mid to upper 70s Friday afternoon. And then here comes that line of showers and thunderstorms with that cold front moving into metro Atlanta 7, 8 a.m. and pushing on out towards the south and east as we head into the early afternoon. So if you had plans to be at the park or maybe go for a nice bike ride, I think the bike ride's going to be pretty nice because we'll be drying out and temperatures are going to still recover Saturday afternoon despite the morning rain into the 70s. So here's that week outlook. Next 7 days, we are tracking chilly mornings for your Wednesday and Thursday, warming numbers by Thursday afternoon, and then we're into the mid 70s for Friday as those rain chances start to increase as that system pushes in. We are first alerting Saturday because we think that's when the bulk of the rain and the thunderstorms are going to move through. The second half of the day dries out, and we're looking at a good mix of sun and clouds for Sunday with highs in the mid 70s. So that's actually going to technically make Sunday the weekend winner. And then as we head into next week, we're going to see southerly flow really dominate the forecast. With that southerly flow, we're going to get a little bit of moisture, so there's going to be that 20% chance of a spotty shower. I think the bigger takeaway here is that temperatures are going to be consistently in the low 80s to start off next week. So lots happening in the forecast, lots happening in the world, lots happening in Georgia, and we're doing our best here to keep you all updated on what we're seeing as far as weather and what we're the information about everything that's breaking across not only the state but essentially the country. Our team is hard at work right now, and we have a newscast coming up in about 36 minutes. So I am going to leave you with the 7-day forecast so you can make out your plans for the next couple of days and pull out those lighter jackets from the closet. And I'm going to go ahead and prepare for the 10 o'clock show. So I will see you all in just over an hour.